Good afternoon. This is Alan Molina, financial advisor here at Cyrus Capital Management, and I wanted to give you an update for the month of July for your portfolio. And this is really specifically for the clients that are in the algorithm, the quantitative portfolio model. It's been a rocky road the past week, so I wanted to give you an update, express what's going on, and go from there. And those who are in the asset allocation program, yours is going steady and doing what we want it to do. And if you want any changes or anything such as that, reach out to me, give me a call, text me, email me. I had a client last week. We took less risk in their cash portfolio, and to help them have more of a savings account. But that being said, let's jump right into the QPM July 2021 update. And now, here's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over the first quarter detailed, the second quarter detailed, what happened last week, and what's going to happen moving forward. So, the first question I got from a client is the QPM not working? What's going on, Alan? And the reason being is last week was a little bit rough, and it's been a while since we had one of those rough weeks, but I wanted to talk about it. And yes, it is working. It's just some issues with some adjustments that I made. So let's jump right in. Before we continue, what I want to do is I want to give you some background about me. First of all, I'm a fiduciary. And as a fiduciary, my responsibility is to give you the best advice possible at that moment. That being said, the first quarter, I made some adjustments. They were back tested. I thought they were the best advice. Ended up not being, and we'll see why they weren't. In the second quarter, I thought it was the best advice as well, but the problem is many clients didn't like it. We'll get into that as well. But third and finally, sometimes I try for perfection. You know, when you reach that 97, 98th percentile, you're 97, 98% good, but you try to strive for the extra 2%. Sometimes I do that, and it causes problems. And so I need to be more content and just let the program work. Now, for the first quarter, what happened was I continued to use a very short time frame in the algorithm. Same algorithm, same mathematical formulas, but it was just the input data was smaller or shorter in duration. And we started in October of 2020. And what happened is in the QPM performed well in 2020. However, the shorter time frame, looking back, it actually had a better performance of over 18.49%. That's significant. And so what I wanted to do is take advantage of that. Not only that, but it didn't have the big movements. It was more focused on really short capturing of the gains of the trend. The problem was I couldn't execute. And what I mean by that is it was really geared towards hitting 2 and 3, 4 10-day signals. And if I had a lunch appointment or an impromptu client meeting, or sometimes I would miss parts of the signal. So if the signal was only $10, but I missed the first $2 and the last $2, that means I only got 60% of it, which is good, but it's still not good enough. And so when the market starts moving, it just didn't work out, and I didn't know that. And so what ended up happening was the shorter time frame is like this, and it goes up, and it was just going. The shorter time frame is just it's just what it is. See the amplitude. The frequency of the amplitude is different. This is the normal QPM. And so what happened was I just couldn't execute simply because the market moved too fast, or what ended up happening was I got a call, I got a client appointment, and I couldn't execute. And when you test something, you just don't know that until you hit it with a real life world. And instead of outperforming, it underperformed by almost 10% for the quarter. That's unacceptable for you, it's unacceptable for me, and so I killed it. Then in the second quarter trying to get more gains and more gains and more gains. It's just, we all want the best results we possibly can. So what I did was, in the asset allocation, I've been using a tool that I pick the best investments, asset classes for that economic cycle. Like right now, inflation is up, economy is up. And so I did that. And I've been using it for asset allocation clients for years. And so what I decided to do was, the shorter time frame didn't work, so let's try that with the QPM clients, because it performs very well. And I've already shared about the best asset classes. Now for the quarter, again, it underperformed. Now, the reason it underperformed, it's just a small quarter, but the reason we got out of it is I had a good number of clients call me and say, Alan, I don't like the volatility that it creates, because you're isolating going from, I think, 11 sectors in the S&P 500 down to 4 or 5. And so what ends up happening is, if those sectors move a whole lot, then it creates a lot more drama in your portfolio, and clients don't like that. QPM was designed to lower the volatility, increase return. And so I had enough clients to say, hey, Alan, I'm uncomfortable with the volatility, so I killed it. Even though long term it does even better, I didn't want to cause more heartache for you clients. So we barely underperformed, but it wasn't good enough. And so that being said, this is a big chart, and I've attached a copy of the presentation. That way you can delve into it. But this is from November 2nd, 2020, 9/30 to 4/1/2021, the closing price. And these are basically the asset classes, the NASDAQ, mid cap, small cap, discretionary, industrials, energy, materials, financials, and some more oil. And if you look at your statement in the end of March, you'll see that the asset allocation for the QPM is about there. And so what ended up happening is, if you back test this, I just took a small window because I didn't want to bore you with all the detail for the years. It had a return of 36% for that time frame. With the S&P 500 was 21.5. That's a huge outperformance. But the problem we had is, when we went to it, is in the second quarter, is people are not comfortable with the volatility. So I got out of it. And so here's what happened. This is back tested over 20 years. And this is using, in the current economic environment, economy up, inflation up, the S&P 500 per quarter averages 1.2%. Okay? And so I've highlighted those areas. Here we have mid cap, we have materials, we have financials, things such as that. I mean, I just have the symbols. And so if you look at that, they outperform over 20 years of the particular kind of investment environment we're in. So it works long term. I had even more data back to 2005, going back 20 years. So it works. But the problem is the volatility that it added. So I got out of it. So the goal is the yellow line, but it was just too volatile for clients. As an example, if you see here, right here, energy was one of them. And it performed well in this economic environment. But the problem is sometimes energy would move 2, 3, 4% a day. People don't like that amount of movement. And so it just didn't work out. Continuing on. Now, last week, what happened last week? Last week was rough. Even though I was on a working vacation, I was glued to the markets. Every year I'm supposed to go make sure that I can, in case there's an emergency here in Lynchburg, that I can go outside and actually do some work and take care of you the client. When derecho hit, our power went off before derecho hit, but when derecho hit, we were out of power for 6 or 7 days, I think. I had to actually go to Williamsburg in order to actually operate and help clients. And so I'm supposed to test it. And so I try to do it around family vacations. So what happened was on 7/19, the S&P 500 dropped 2.17%. The Dow dropped 946 points in one day, or 2.73 at the lowest point. That's horrible. What happened is we got a short call or a short signal. Normal. We expected it because volatility was building. And then we went short, the market ran back up. From Tuesday to Friday, it just went straight up. So not only did we experience the 2.17% drop or 2% drop that day, but also the 2% up move or almost 3%. And so what ended up happening was we got hammered on both sides. And so the question I was asked is it broken? And the answer is no. So the signal in the algorithm said to go short on the 19th, and the long signal was confirmed today. Is this normal? Is the QPM broken? And it's no to both questions. I've spent the day going back through not a couple years, I think 6 or 7 years, and looking at when this happens, because this would be called a false signal or a bad signal. I haven't determined a way to figure out which ones are the bad signals. So let me show you what happened. These are the dates. And I highlighted what happened last week. It's the buy date, the sell date, what the result was, the buy price, and the percent, and the direction. And so it goes from oldest to youngest. I skipped 2017, I'm not really sure why, but it has 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And so this year there was an additional short signal. It's included here. We only lost 0.5%, but it's not dramatic like it was today. Not today, last week. Last week, the signal was down 3.87%. That's not good. If you're in the QPM 2X, that's over 7%. It's a horrible week. I admit it. I was invested just like you are, but it's not unusual. In July of 2015, down almost 4. November 2015, down over 5. March 2018, down over 4. October 2018, down over 4. And in May 2020, down almost 4. So what happened last week is not unusual. If you look at the history of things, it's just not something we've experienced in a while. So it felt really bad. And all we do is just continue in the algorithm, because I was going through the algorithm and it still does its good thing. It still does well. And we're just going to plug along and keep on doing what we're supposed to be doing and following the results. Because there's too many variables out there for us to actually to follow. And this has been tried and true and tested all the way back to 2005. And so it's not broken. Last week, frankly, was just something normal. So the next question is, if my slide will change. It's not changing. There we go. Okay, so the question I had is to show you the number of trades that were winning and losing. So there's been, since 2005, 110 signals. 71 have been winning, 39 have been losing. And so it's an accuracy of 64.55. That's pretty good. If it starts getting 72, 75%, usually there's some problems with your data and it's been curve fitted, which that means you've taken the data and curved it or fitted it to your algorithm. So you want it to be accurate, but not too accurate. And the goal is to cut the losses and let the winners run. And that's what happened with that, with these trades that are the percentage loss. It's not a consistent, 3.87 to 5.25. It's not the same, but because I use price and volatility in order to go in there. And so sometimes it just depends on how the market is moving in volatility. So moving forward, what do we do from here? I tell you, sometime on Tuesday last week when I couldn't do anything, part of me wanted to run and say, what's going on? I got stressed last week. I got worried. Not because of the algorithm, but just I can't stand it when it doesn't go the way I want it to go. So I know it's disconcerting. The market is up and your portfolio in the QPM is down. The QPM 2X is down twice as much as the 1X. I know that. It bothers you. It bothers me. So where do we go from here? Do we quit? Do we go in the corner and suck our thumbs? What do we do? Here's what I'm doing. I'm making no changes or adjustments to the investments or the algorithm unless used in my personal account for over a year, or at least a year, and fully back tested to 2005. So I'm not doing anything else. The past 2 quarters, I knew from last year that I don't mess with the algorithm mid-cycle. I don't mess with it. And so I said I have to back test it. Well, I back tested it the first quarter, but real world, it didn't work. Second quarter, clients didn't like the volatility. So what I'm doing is I'm saying we need to, I'm going to do it in my own portfolio if there's any changes and have it back tested to 2005. If you say, Alan, I'm uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable too. I don't like what happened last week or the underperformance this year. It's not that I've been sleeping at the wheel. It's just I've really been trying to make things better for you and I. And the reason I say you and I is because the better you do, the better I do. And also, my personal investments are invested along with yours. So I wanted everybody to win. So if you're uncomfortable with your model, if you're uncomfortable with 2X, go to 1X. If you're uncomfortable with the QPM, go to asset allocation. Number 3, I had a client ask, Alan, is there a way to rule out bad signals? Well, I'm going to be researching that. And like I said, I'm not going to change anything in the algorithm until it's been back tested in 2005 and used in my own account for a year. And besides that, I know I've highlighted this book several times, but if you're a book reader, it's not a hard book to read. It's more of a biography. It's not about math. But it talks about the pitfalls of developing a firm and an algorithm. Because I would like to say that everything is perfect and it goes perfectly well. It doesn't do that. Because you hit real world problems. When the rubber hits the road, things change. And so I'm just going back to the way the original algorithm was done and no changes in moving forward. And I think you'll like the results better. And I'm going to like the results better in moving forward. Now, if you have any questions, I've had several clients contact me this week. We're meeting. I meet with someone tomorrow night. We're just having some conversations because people want to know. And a lot of times people, when they listen to these videos or they look at the slides, they don't understand. They want to talk to me. So if you want to do a Zoom meeting, if you want to do it face-to-face, if you want, it doesn't matter to me. Let's meet, let's talk, let's chat, and go from there. If you have any questions, I didn't include my cell phone number on here because sometimes the video gets out to people who aren't clients, and I don't really feel like my phone number being out there. But you as my client, you have my cell phone number, you have my email, you have my work phone number, and normal disclosures. But if you have anything that I can do for you, if you want to chat, meet, whatever, give me a call, email me, text me. I'm here for you. And I look forward to great things.